Shalev Nymark, welcome to the lockdown sessions.
Thank you for having me, Brad.
You're welcome. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good today.
Yeah, you had a nice day?
I sure am.
So you've been listening to these podcasts because you and I talk all the time.
That's right.
Yeah, and one of the things that we were chatting about was we thought it'd be really exciting if you came on one of these podcasts that we would then put out on YouTube and put out on Spotify and on Apple. And what are we going to be talking about today?
So we were going to be talking about what is it like to have what's it like missing mum?
Yeah, and other stuff as well, I hope, because I'm not sure we can talk for half an hour just about your mum. And I tell you what, the aim of these podcasts, Shalev, is really simple, right? It's to have a conversation about what it's been like to be stuck at home for the last 4 months, unable to do things. And I'm really interested to understand from you what you've been observing, what you've been learning about yourself, about the people you live with.
Yeah.
And I think before we start, I'm just going to sort of tell all the listeners that an interesting fact, because I've known you since you were how old?
4 years old.
Right, exactly. In fact, we spent your 4th birthday together in Wales. So it's been 27 years since we've known each other and been friends, right?
Yes.
And I thought this lockdown podcast would be good because whenever we've been away together, whether it was Amsterdam or Paris, we've always been able to talk for hours.
Yes.
And you're not somebody who shies away from talking, are you?
No.
No. The only thing we don't have in common is our football teams.
Right.
You're being, who do you support again?
Tottenham.
Yeah, that's right. That's why we don't always.
I literally text you because we're actually playing Crystal Palace Sunday.
Yeah, I know, but you know I don't support Tottenham. So
no, I know that. But I'm just saying, but I wanted to tell you in the text yesterday.
It was lovely, and it's always nice to hear from you.
So and to be honest with you, I shared some pictures with you yesterday as well. So
some really lovely ones actually, and maybe we'll come on to those a bit later because where I want to start, the first question, and I've got a number of questions I want to ask you to get your view on. The first question I want to ask you is, who have you missed the most during lockdown?
So I've been missing my mum.
Okay.
Because I haven't been at home since March.
It's a long time.
Which I was a bit sad about.
How did that make you feel sad? Because like you saw your mum every other week.
Yes.
So what was that like?
It was a bit rocky start,
right?
But I managed to get there.
And when you say it was rocky, what do you mean by rocky? What was rocky about it?
So
that's the name of my dog.
Yeah.
What was rocky about it for you?
So basically, it went to lockdown and it was a bit not going to the library, electric umbrella, drama, seeing you, seeing my girlfriend, not able to go to work.
So hang on a minute, just stop there for a second, because you've mentioned a couple of things.
Yes.
Basically, your whole life stopped.
Yes.
And you're missing your mum. So were you able to speak to her, or did you stop contact with her? What happened?
I've been contacting my mum every evening.
Oh, okay. So you were chatting with her?
Oh God, yeah, on WhatsApp. So I've been
Okay.
doing that kind of stuff.
And how did you feel when you were told, Shalev, lockdown's going to happen, and that means we can't really leave the house? What did you think, first of all? Like the first thing that came into your head?
So we couldn't do all the activities that we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we have indoor in-house activity.
But wait for a moment, because before you go into that, I still want to stay with this question of what did you think when you were told you're not going to be able to see anybody, you can't see your mum, you can't see your friends, you can't go to drama, you can't go to work, you can't see Brad? Like, what went through your head?
So I have not, it was very tricky that I wasn't able to see my mum for such a long time.
Yeah, because no one knew how long it would last.
No. And when Paul told me that I wouldn't able to go home, that made me feel a bit upset.
Yeah, I bet. How long did it take, do you think, like, before you got a bit used to it? Like, it just became normal again?
It took me probably weeks.
Really?
It took me about a couple of weeks.
And did it affect your mood at home? Like, were you a bit miserable as well?
Yeah, I was a bit up and down. Like I was being like I was like my mood changed. Like I was in a bad mood.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking to staff rudely. I was throwing things. I was having an outburst. I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing.
But it sounds to me as though, apart from being upset, you were also a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, I was being frustrated. Yes.
So it took a couple of weeks for you to kind of calm down. You were missing your mum, but you were speaking to her.
Yes.
What about work? Because did you have to stop going to work as well?
Yes. That was a bit tricky because my work got put on hold and it got shut, and I wasn't able to go to work until they told me that I might be able to go to work sometime in September.
Oh, so hang on a minute. Does that mean you're not earning any money?
No, I mean, the idea is it's a work placement.
Okay.
So I don't get paid. I get paid to work there, but they don't pay me to. They don't give me any money.
Not while you're sat at home doing nothing.
No.
So that's tough, right? Just as well, you can't go out anywhere if you've got no money.
Yeah, like exactly. I mean, but to be honest with you, like,
I'd rather you were honest.
but to be honest with you, I have been missing Hadassah, my grandma and grandpa, etc., etc. I've been missing Matt Keston.
So hang on, stop a minute, because obviously people listening to this, they're just names, but Hadassah's your sister, right?
Yes.
And she lives where?
In Australia.
So have you been FaceTiming with her? Have you at least been able to see her?
I've been FaceTiming her at home, yes.
And how's she been coping with the lockdown?
They're okay.
Yeah. Look, I want to change the subject a little bit. Because you've talked a bit about how you felt going into lockdown. You've also talked a little bit about how you coped kind of, at the beginning. You were saying you felt frustrated, you were having some outbursts.
Yes.
But it took a few weeks to settle down. So how did you personally cope with like becoming calmer and starting to do stuff where you kept yourself busy? Like, how did you get out of that frustration? Because the people who are listening, they'd be interested to know, because we've all been through the same thing. We've all had to find things to do that have made this a little bit easier. So what have you been doing to not be frustrated?
So staff has been calming me down and saying, look, I know this must be tough on you, but you need to calm yourself down, not to get frustrated, but try and speak to staff more calmer.
Did you?
And I think I have been doing that. Yes.
And when they were sort of saying, Shalev, you need to be a bit calmer, how did you get through all those hours every day, all the boredom? I mean, like, what have you been doing during the day to like pass the time? It's been weeks.
I know. I've been just literally been going out for walks, going for like 1 hour walk. Like, I've been going to the park, going on the swings and stuff. I've been going to like food and veg shopping on the Monday.
Were you wearing a mask?
I've been with my mask, yes.
Yeah, good. Glad to hear it.
I've been going. Yesterday I went to Hemel to look around.
Did you see anything in Hemel worth looking at?
Yes, I went to Computer Exchange I looked at NCIS, the whole box set, which is my favourite.
Okay.
Which is my favourite.
Yeah.
And
that's the criminal investigation.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know it.
Yeah. Just get out of the house. Like, I've been to Bushy Fields, going to Fisher's Anfield.
So hang on a minute. This is more recently, isn't it? Because you're being able to go out, you've been going for walks. What about if you go back a couple of months, have you been doing stuff during the day at home where you've been like doing for a couple of hours, maybe some activities, or what kind of things were you doing in the earlier stages?
What, before the lockdown came?
No, so once the lockdown came and you got past the kind of initial frustration, were you doing stuff sort of around the house, maybe?
Yes,
Okay.
I was doing like board games, Tottenham quizzes.
Okay.
Doing my learning creative books.
That sounds
Like
interesting. What's that?
Time book, maths book, and English.
Oh, math, English, and time. I don't want to say this because, I'm an Arsenal fan, but you said you're doing Tottenham quizzes.
Correct, which I started.
And can you think of a question from that Tottenham quiz? See if maybe I could answer it.
So, one of the answers is...
No, don't give me the answer. Give me the question.
So, no, I'm just saying to you, one of the answers that I'm going to explain to you,
okay,
is who is the first ever manager?
Okay, let me see if I can work. The first ever manager of Tottenham.
Correct.
That's like 100 years ago.
From now.
So who's the manager now?
Yes.
Well, I know it's that Jose
Mourinho, correct.
That's an easy question. What about if I asked you, who did Tottenham Hotspur beat in the FA Cup final in 1991?
Arsenal?
No, you beat Arsenal in the semi-final.
Right.
In fact, I watched that game with my dad and my brother, who's also a Tottenham fan. And
right.
Tottenham won 3-1. Paul Gascoigne scored a free kick and Gary Lineker scored 2 goals.
Right.
And it was one of the worst FA Cup semi-finals of my whole life.
Right.
It was terrible. And then Tottenham went on to play Nottingham Forest in the cup final that year. So look, let me change direction again a little bit. I'm interested in some of the things that you've been doing in lockdown, but I'm also interested in something you said a bit earlier.
Yes.
You said you've missed your girlfriend.
Correct.
Are we allowed to mention her name?
Of course you can.
And what's your girlfriend's name?
Amanda.
Now I actually know Amanda.
Correct.
And where do I know Amanda from?
You know Amanda from Unity.
And that's where you and I met back in 1991.
That's right.
And Amanda's actually a little bit older than you, if I remember.
Yes.
So you like the older girlfriend?
Yeah.
How long has she been your girlfriend? Because you're smiling at this one.
Well, basically...
I don't need to know the whole story. Remember, not everyone's going to want to know the whole story. How long have you been dating her?
So, we've been together for 5 months.
5 months, okay.
Yes. So, we've been together for 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me out on the 23rd of January.
I can't believe you remember the date. Hang on a minute. Did you just say she asked you out?
She did, yes.
Well, you didn't ask her?
No.
Oh, I like your style, Shalev. That's quite cool. but hang on. So 2 months later, we're in lockdown.
I know.
Have you been able to speak to her during lockdown?
Yes, I have on WhatsApp.
Okay. And I won't ask you what you're talking about because that's personal. But when do you think you're going to be able to maybe meet up and have maybe like a social distance walk or something?
That I can't answer at the moment because I don't know when I'm gonna see her again.
So look, let me ask you another question. Let's change a bit. Move away from the girlfriend, even though you made you smile, because living where you do,
yeah,
you got to have quite regularly a COVID test.
that's right. I have had what's it like to have a COVID-19 test? Yes.
So come on, most of the people listening to this podcast wouldn't have had a COVID test, and you've had quite a few.
Yes.
So tell us what it's like. What do they do? How long do you have to wait?
So basically, it was very, very uncomfortable, but it had to be done.
And what do they do?
So Diana had to put this swab this swab
it's a swab.
stick in down my throat and in my nose.
Right.
It was very uncomfortable, but it had to be done.
How long would it take?
It took about at least about 5 minutes.
Wow. And what? So they put the swab in. What? Do they have to like move it around?
Yeah.
Do you not like choke or?
Yeah, I did. I gagged.
Right. Okay. And how long would you have to wait before you found out what the results were?
So
Shalev, how long would you have to wait before you would find out the results?
So the next day, so Donna told me that when she told me that the test came back negative.
That must have been such a relief.
The test came back negative. I do not have coronavirus.
That's brilliant. And were you nervous having to have the test?
Yes, I was.
And how often would you have it?
Probably, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, how many do you think you've had?
I've had one so far.
One so far. And was anybody positive where you live?
Yes.
Oh wow.
All the boys had it.
Yeah.
All the staff had it.
The test, not coronavirus. The test.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And when you think about coming out of lockdown,
yes,
what do you think are going to be the things you're going to start like doing again? Like, what are you looking forward?
So the things I'm going to be looking forward to is going to Newcastle upon Tyne.
All right, who's taking you there?
Well, I'm going to be speaking to Diana, and when the lockdown's finished, I'm going to speak to Diana and see who's going to take me to Newcastle upon Tyne so I can experience Newcastle and staying in a hotel and just enjoying myself with a member of staff. And that's what I've been researching on my laptop.
So Newcastle, of course,
made me realise. That made me realise that I really wanted to go.
And obviously, I was born in Newcastle, as you know.
That's right, you were.
And I lived there. Do you remember a couple of years back? I lived up in
That's
Newcastle
right.
for a few months.
That's right.
We couldn't get you up there though at that time. What else are you looking forward to doing?
So I'm looking forward to going maybe to the cinema again, going to pubs again, restaurants. Going to bowling alley again, arcades.
Because you would have quite a regular routine, wouldn't you? You go out, you get your takeaways, you go to the pub on a Sunday, have a few beers.
Yeah.
You love the cinema. You must have missed going to the movies.
I have, yes.
Yeah. Have you been watching films at all?
I have been seeing. I have been watching. What would you say? Kind of movies did you say?
Yeah. What kind of movies have you been watching?
I've been watching The Wizard of Oz.
Good film. Who's your favourite character in
Toy Story?
Who's your favourite character in the Wizard of Oz?
Dorothy.
Okay, I think mine.
Dorothy and Toto and Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion.
Hang on a minute, that's like everybody. But who's your favourite?
Scarecrow.
Okay, so if you could go out to the pub and have a beer with one character from The Wizard of Oz, who would it be?
I would go with the Scarecrow.
Scarecrow. Yeah, do you know what? Scarecrow's my favourite character as well. Because he's just so funny.
And do you know who plays him?
Oh, who?
It is Vin Van Dyke.
Oh, right. Okay, that's good knowledge.
He plays the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz.
That's very good film knowledge, Shalev. I like that. So, yeah, go on.
So basically, the Cowardly Lion, I'm not sure who plays him. I'm not sure who plays the Tin Man either.
Don't worry.
But I know who plays Dorothy, who plays Dorothy Gale, who plays...
Who plays Toto?
I'm not sure.
I wonder. Do you think my dog would have been any good?
Judy Garland.
Judy Garland didn't play Toto, though. She played Dorothy.
No, she played Dorothy.
So hang on a minute. I want to go back. I want to rewind a second.
Okay.
You talked about going to the cinema again, going to the pub, going bowling. You mentioned something before that we didn't really, arcade, that you didn't explain. So I'd like to just go back to that. You mentioned how you had to stop going to Drama and Electric Umbrella.
Correct.
What's Electric Umbrella? What was that? And why did you miss it?
Because I was going to the pump house to go to my sessions to my Electric Umbrella, so then I would able to go back there again. Okay. But unfortunately, I have to do it online. I have to do it on Zoom. And
Electric Umbrella is what precisely?
So basically, Electric Umbrella is a singing group.
Right. Okay. And you do that every week, right?
Correct. Now, on Zoom.
Shalev, we've got a special guest who's going to join our podcast, but I need to ask your permission to let them in. I've got somebody called Laura waiting to join us.
Okay.
Shall we let her come in?
Of course.
Okay, let's admit Laura to the room. Here comes Laura. And while Laura's joining us, Shalev, just tell me a little bit. So when you're at Electric Umbrella, what are you doing there?
So I am sort of like singing my favorite songs, and we're doing different spotlighting, different stuff really.
And what, do you put on concerts or what?
Yes.
You put on concerts?
We do a lot of gigs.
So I can see Laura's garden. There she is. Welcome, Laura, to the lockdown sessions. Shalev and I have been chatting for about 25 minutes. You're coming in for the last couple of minutes, Laura, so it's perfect timing.
I've just got back from work.
And you know, by the way, when I asked Shalev what was the one thing he missed most about lockdown, he said seeing you.
Oh, I must have done something right.
Yeah. So Shalev, you've now got to see your mum.
Yes.
And you were able to go home.
Correct. For the first time.
What was that like?
Absolutely fantastic.
Was it?
Yeah.
What was it like sleeping in your own bed again?
It was fantastic. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
And look, we've still got one more question before we start to wrap up, and then Laura, I'm going to ask you a question as well. But were you bored at all, Shalev, during this lockdown period?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, and how did you cope with being bored?
I was bored, and I didn't know what to do.
Right.
It wasn't the same as it was before.
Right. And how do you think you were able to make sure you didn't stay bored? How did you keep your mind busy? Was it doing your learning stuff or was
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing learning. Yeah.
And the last question I want to ask you. How are you going to celebrate when lockdown is completely over?
Well, I have got something in mind.
Go on, share it.
So, number 10 is having a barbecue with friends and family.
So you're going to celebrate finishing lockdown with a barbecue. And just out of interest, what do you like to barbecue, Shalev?
Well, I like to have burgers, chicken sausages, chicken, all different stuff really.
That sounds like a very hearty meal. So your celebration is going to be a barbecue.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I think that's amazing. So Shalev, look, we're running out of time on this. Actually, we're almost coming to the end. You've talked to us about lockdown. You've talked to us about how you coped in the beginning.
Yes.
What do you think you've learned about yourself during lockdown?
I think I've done really well.
Okay. I like that. Does that give you some confidence?
Yes.
Nice. And when you look out at the world, do you think it's going to be different when we all come out of lockdown?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think will be the big difference? Apart from wearing masks.
That you would we would able to see my friends again, when I can go back to work and when I can go home again, and whether just make the most of it.
And I guess we'll then have to plan our trip.
That's right.
Which will be to where this time?
Edinburgh.
It will be Edinburgh. Laura, how did you cope with lockdown, not being able to see Shalev all the time? I mean, that must have been a big wrench.
It was very difficult, because although we managed to see each other every Saturday, it was only for an hour, and I wasn't allowed to go into Shalev's house.
Yeah.
I didn't see his bedroom for a long time, and he tidied it up.
Wow.
With Anna, and I hadn't been able to see what he'd done. I missed Shalev. I missed his company on a Saturday evening, because we like to have a lovely meal together and watch television and go and visit friends and family. Yeah, it was a very, very weird time. It is still a very weird time.
Yeah, I don't think it's disappearing, the weirdness, necessarily. And have you noticed a change in the way Shalev's been during lockdown? Because you must be quite proud of how he's been able to like just deal with the frustrations, the disconnection. Like, what have you noticed?
Well, actually, I have to say I've been very proud of Shalev, because he has handled all the new different rules, like having to wash his hands, like having to wear a mask, like not being allowed to come home. And he's never phoned me up and started moaning down the phone, "Mom, I want to come home." Or if I go and visit him for 1 hour on a Saturday, he never, ever complained. He never said, "Oh, Mom, can I come home with you?" No, nothing like that.
Yeah.
He would occasionally say to me, when can I come home? No, he said to me, "When will Boris let me come home again?"
Oh, good that you're blaming Boris, Shalev.
And I have to say that I think staff have really stepped up to the plate, because they have really worked hard with Shalev and all the other boys in the house, and they have done all kinds of activities that Shalev hasn't. That's the thing I'm really proud of, is they've done lots of activities, and Shalev has, before lockdown, he didn't really join in with group activities. And that's the big thing I've noticed. And I'm really proud that Shalev has started to join in group activities.
Nice. I like hearing that, because actually one of the big things about lockdown is that we're also disconnected from each other, and actually if you can be with others, it's quite nice, Shalev, to hear that you are. So look, Shalev, I've got a final question for you. Yes. Before we finish our podcast.
Okay.
And I want to know if you could send a message to Amanda.
Okay.
Via this podcast.
Okay.
What will your message be?
So
make it short, though. We don't want a whole soliloquy.
So my message will be, just have fun and just be yourself and just get on with things. That's it.
I love the fact that you talk about being yourself, getting on with it and having fun, because I'm not even sure that's just a message for your girlfriend. I think that's a message to everybody.
Yeah.
During lockdown is about you get on with it, you be yourself, you be completely authentic. And I think, Shalev, this has been an excellent podcast. I've even let it run over a little bit because normally we only make them last 30 minutes, but this has been 40.
Right.
So I'm going to say thank you very much. And will you come back again in a couple of months' time?
Of course I will.
Yeah, you're sure?
Of course.
All right. Listen, Shalev, thank you for being on lockdown, and we'll see you soon.